Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news this Friday night. Lots to get into for a Friday night show. Amorim literally with a transfer hold-up. There are 5 players he could go for in January that are available, that other clubs are looking at, that he could go for, that suit his system, and Ineos are doing diddly squat. Is that right? Is that fair when you consider that this is the guy Ineos spent £30 million bringing in, and then they're not going to back him like they did the guy they didn't want, which was Ten Hag. There are players there. We can't get them. Let's go through them, because Iheanacho is another one that is available for 35 million euros. A left-footed young centre-back is available, and he's a protege of the Amorim system. United are nowhere near it. Why not? Why not? Also, we're going to be talking about the latest club in for Marcus Rashford. Is it all getting a bit PR now? Monaco want him. Barcelona want him. Go somewhere. Got more clubs than Tiger Woods. Also, we're going to be talking about what Amorim said, starting Binder in an FA Cup game as the holders. Is this a bit naive? I love Amorim, but is that a bit naive? Could Rashford start? Some people think he would. That would be incredibly naive. We'll talk about that as well. Lots to get into on the show. I've got a very interesting stat to bring you about Ugarte as well. Wrexham are in for Rashford as well, says Bob. They're probably paying with Disney money, wouldn't they? I mean, the way his career is going at the moment is... Look, anyway, let's get into it. Lots to get into. Robski, welcome to the Members Club. First man to get the badge in today. Presuming you're a man, Robski. Could be a woman, could be whatever else you identify as. We're not going into that one. Also, Constantine with the first super chat of the night. Legend says, a lot of delusions in our fan base that we will back the manager in January. Don't believe we'll make a single buy in the window. United are in a mess financially and the chickens have finally come home to roost. And how fair is that on Amorim? Have you got lipstick on tonight, says Howard Webb. I don't wear lipstick. I agree with you. I've just been out for a walk. It's -3. I thought it was a good idea. I had 2 pairs of gloves on. It's literally freezing. But some of you will be saying, oh, whatever. And can I just raise a glass to everybody? 99% of you will be like me. We've got through the first week after Christmas and New Year, the first full week. So here's to that. Well done, everybody. If you're working tomorrow or tonight, tough. The majority of us aren't. No, seriously, good luck with it. Keep up the good work, Mark. Could you wish my daughter a happy birthday? We watch your show all the time, says Ashley Janes. Happy birthday to you, to your daughter. That reminds me, before we get into the show, and I've got lots to get into, I think this Iheanacho story is massively, massively interesting. I really, really want to talk about that. But Boohoo Man, it's Friday night. If you don't know what Boohoo Man's all about, where have you been? Fantastic clothing outlet. You can get everything from gym wear for January, if you're into all that. I mean, look, if you look at my Instagram, at Goldbridge Mark, go and have a look at it now. That's a photo from this morning. Dry January's kicked in no time for me. Wink, wink. Wink, wink. Some of you will be doing replacing the I with an A in wink when you see that picture. Anyway, we love Boohoo Man here on the United Stand, and our audience receives an additional 10% discount when you order something off the website. Delivered to your door, use the code Goldbridge. You'll get an extra 10% off when you use that code. They've got gym wear, five-a-side wear, chill wear. They've got everything. And you can get that delivered to your door. And they're so bloody brilliant, they've given you a bit of trivia, this first one of the 2025 calendar. I was born in May. It's a Man United player, by the way. Don't start shouting out Elon Musk or, Boris Johnson. It's a footballer who played for Man United. I was born on May the 22nd, 1946, and I kicked off... 1946? You're older than me. How old are you if you're born in 1946? You've got to be touching 70. 60, yeah, touching 70. Right, okay. It's not nanny then. I was born on May the 22nd, 1946 and kicked off my Man United professional career at 17 in 1963. Most of you forget it. I debuted with a 1-0 win over West Brom. I know who it was. Scored my first goal in a 5-1 win against Burnley. Played 261 matches for Man United, netting 137 goals. I knew it. I knew his debut was West Brom. I know who it is. I won league title, European Cup and European Player of the Year by the age of 22. Yeah, I'm definitely right. I was crowned Ballon d'Or winner in 68 over legends Sir Bobby Charlton and Franz Beckenbauer. I was nicknamed the Fifth Beatle and I'm celebrated as one of football's all-time greats. It's not bloody Nanny. There's people putting Nanny in the chat. It's definitely not. It is one of the greatest. It is one of the legends. In fact, we don't hear about him much anymore. Obviously, I know that's because he's died. I don't mean in that sense, but I don't think we talk about George Best as much as we should. An absolute legend of Manchester United, and I know this happens when people pass away. They'll always be a legend, but just go and educate yourself on George Best. Debut against West Brom, I'll never forget that. I wasn't there, I'm not that old, but he is a player. I always talk about the Busby Babes and Duncan Edwards because my granddad was obsessed with them, but my mum was obsessed with George Best. So that's another story, another player that I just knew loads about growing up. And I always think with George Best, what's on video is probably less than 1% of his career because it just wasn't recorded. And you look at what they've got on that 1%. Imagine what he was doing that never got recorded. And I'm not just talking about what he was doing on a Saturday night. No, I mean on the pitch. Absolute amazing player. Thank you to Boohoo Man. Bit of a kick down nostalgia lane there. Use the code Goldbridge, 10% off. Big shout out to Boohoo Man. Right, let's get into the show. From the past to the present to the future. Okay, so right, I want to start off with this. There's a lot to get into topically tonight, but I want to say Ruben Amorim cost Man United about 12 million quid. And to sack Ten Hag, it cost them 15 million. To sack Ashworth, it's probably cost them 4 or 5, 2 or 3. I don't know. All in all, it's probably cost them £30 million to remove the director of football and Ten Hag and his coaches and bring in Amorim. So we found £30 million to do that. And then we're not going to back this manager in the January transfer window when there's 5 players that suit his system that we could go and get for reasonable money. Explain that one to me. I can understand we've got no money, we're Man United, the Glazeronomics, but this is meant to be an Ineos Manchester United era. Now, Glazers would not have sacked Ten Hag and bought Amorim in at a cost of 30 million. Ineos did that, and I thought, you know what? We're serious. So show me you're serious. Show me that you want to back the guy that's your guy. Because Ten Hag wasn't your guy. I agreed with you backing him after the FA Cup final, giving him a chance. It didn't work out. Back the manager that you want. Back the manager that's your guy. Don't hang him out to dry. There is an opportunity in this January transfer window to get players that suit his system, and we're sat on our arse. Look, as Ornstein said, David Ornstein, there is money there for Manchester United and we should be spending it. Listen to this latest story that's come out tonight in the last couple of hours from Plettigol, Florian Plettenberg, the journalist from Germany. In recent days, there's been contact between Dortmund and the representatives of Gonzalo Inacio of Sporting. Dortmund considered the 23-year-old centre-back from Sporting very interesting and are monitoring his situation. However, the current valuation of around 35 million euros plus add-ons is too expensive for Dortmund at the moment. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. I mean, this guy... Right, can I just say, we do need a left-back. We do need a midfielder. And we do need a striker. But we also need a left-footed defender, centre-back, whatever you want to call it. And Acho has played under Amorim for the last couple of years, is young, is left-footed, and is available for 35 million euros. Oh my God! We should be on this like John Terry's on... Wait, no, I can't say that. We should be all over this. We should be all over this. Now, Marvin says he's average. Marvin... What is it you're going for? What standard have you got? Because me and you have a good relationship, but we also fall out a bit. What is it you think we're going to do, Marvin? Because when I hear people say he's average, I look at the league table, I look at the last 10 years and I go, what is it you think we should be getting? Because we're shit. Like, we are literally going to have to go through stages 1 and 2 to get to stages 5 and 6. And what I mean by that is we're going to have to bring some players in at the moment that make us play better and move us into the top 4. And then we might have to replace them with players that can win us the league. We ain't going from 14th to title contenders. So I look at it and go, can play Amorim's system, is young, is left-footed and available for £30 million, 35 million euros. And we're sat there going, there's no money. It's a hard life. I mean, I half expect Sir Jim to put a ginger wig on and start acting like Annie. It's a hard knock life. I mean, that might be a bit too niche for people, but it's bullshit. It's absolutely bullshit. There are players out there. Douglas Luiz, we've mentioned him before. Juventus want to move him on. We want to move Casemiro on. We need a midfielder. He would be good as well. Moani, what's going on with him? We need a striker. Are we actually going to do that in January, or are we going to sit there picking our arse? Mendes at PSG. PSG need to raise money to get in Kvaratskhelia. Manchester United want Mendes. Mendes wants Man United. We can probably do a deal. What are we doing? Wait until the summer. So there's 4 deals there straight away that Manchester United could be going and doing for players that would massively improve us. And guess what, everybody? One of them's a left-sided centre-back, which we need. One of them's a left-back, which we need. One of them's a holding midfielder, which we need. And one of them's a bloody striker, which we need. And it's January, and all 4 of them are available. And United are sat there scratching their arse. These are, and on top of that, they're all players that suit Amorim's system. So, you know, I'm sort of, if it didn't bother me so much, I'd be sat here laughing my head off at the incompetence of United, because they can't even fall into the normal excuse of, there's nobody available. It's a challenging market. We'd love to spend money, but there's nobody available, look. It's a terrible market. Actually, there's 4 players available in the 4 positions that we need at reasonable prices, and we're doing nothing. Nothing, because we're more interested in a bloody Excel spreadsheet than we are in the Premier League table. The only table Ineos and the Glazers are interested in are those data tables you get on Excel. They're not interested in the league table. They're not interested in that. So explain that to me, how Ruben Amorim must feel when, obviously publicly he's not going to say anything because he'll get the sack, but he must feel really pissed off because he's walked into the club. He's their guy. He wanted to stay at Sporting till the end of the season. Man United said it's now or never. He goes, it's now. He walks in. He makes significant changes, big changes that no one expected around big players. And the January transfer window hits, and he's probably thinking they've just spent money on Ten Hag, who they weren't sure about. They've spent 15 million getting rid of him, 15 million getting me in. Can't wait to see what they're going to do for me in January, especially as I know there are players I would like available. And then Ineos are going, there's no money, there's no money. And he must be going, hold on a minute, why am I here then? If you can't spend till the summer, why am I here now? Why didn't I just wait until the summer? Because all you're actually doing to me is messing up my win ratio in my first few months. A lot of managers don't want to come into a club halfway through the season because they know the new manager bounce, enthusiasm from the media and the fans is important, and that is better when you've had a pre-season and transfers. If you burn some of that goodwill because the team's shit, it's very hard for you then. So I think Ineos are not helping in this situation, and I'm not happy about it. I don't think many people are happy about it because there are players out there that are available, and there are other clubs who are already better than us looking to do business. Jack says, do you think they lied to Amorim? I mean, I don't know about that. Maybe Amorim's fully aware that he wasn't going to get any players in January, but I wouldn't have signed a contract on that basis. I mean, I don't think there was good managers queuing up for this job. And also, you're not a mind reader. If Ineos said to me, we want you to come now, not in the summer, and there's no money to spend, how would I know that that squad I'm inheriting, I can turn it around sufficiently enough to make some progress between now and the end of the season? Because you'd have to be a bloody moron to sign a contract with United in November, having been told there's no business to be done in January, because if that team's as bad as it looks and you can't turn it around, you could be, well, he's lost 4 Premier League games in a row and drawn 1. So that's not a joke. If you can't turn this ship around because the players aren't good enough, you could end up losing 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games before the end of the season. So I think that would be I think that would be foolish to come into United knowing that you're not going to get players in January. But as I said, it's frustrating because there actually are a number of players available that we could go for. And Marvin AM may not want a Nacho for 35 million euros. I think it's an absolute steal. An absolute steal. Wayne says, how do you actually know we're going to do nothing? Don't actually remember saying we're not going to do anything, Wayne, and it's comments like that that end up causing me issues because you put words into my mouth. I haven't said we're not going to do anything. I've said it's frustrating that we're sat doing nothing. I can't mind read what's going to happen in the next 3 weeks. I'm hopeful they will start doing stuff, but the problem is if I sit here and say it's fine, put the Bob Marley on, everything's going to be all right, and then nothing happens, then we're idiots. We need to vocally be putting the pressure on the owners of our football club like every other fan base does. It is the 10th of January. We are a third of the way through, and we are linked to nobody, apart from Mawani, which is a bit, weak because there's a lot of other clubs linked to him. Mark, are we still falling down the barrel? Says Wanga. That sounds like me and you're having a night out. Yes. We're still... I know what he's talking about. The barrel is... Have we hit the bottom of the barrel? Have we hit the lowest point? We're still sliding down the barrel until we're not. And I don't think we're not. The results aren't great. What's going on around recruitment isn't great. This is a very hard league. I think we're still slipping down. Why don't we hire hidden gem players like Brighton, says DB. So Branthwaite was how much and we won't buy him, says Sean from Ireland. Average is better than what we have now, says Josh. Hi Mark, keep up the great work. What do you think is a realistic window versus your preferred one? Mine is Mendes and a CM and Casemiro and Rashford out, says Opre. And can I just say that as well? I mean, I was talking about that with Amorim. So he has taken this job when he didn't want to take it until the summer. Man United basically forced him with an ultimatum to take it in November. And that pisses me off. Amorim has said publicly that he wanted to stay at Sporting till the end of the season. Not because he doesn't respect Man United, but he just felt that he wanted to finish the Sporting journey, and most managers always want to start in the summer. So Man United forced him to take the job in November. It's now or never and all that bollocks. He comes in, he's not getting backed in January, so they're making his job even harder. And on top of that, he comes in, and can I just say, it's incredible what this guy has done. Every bloody interview is an exercise in how to treat your fans. He's built a communication and relationship with his fans in 6 weeks. On top of that, he's done 2 or 3 things that every manager previous to him has failed spectacularly to do. Look at what's happened with Marcus Rashford. 2 or 3 weeks of an opportunity, and then 4 or 5 weeks of you're not part of my plans for whatever reason. Same with Casemiro. Garnacho has been warned and kicked out. That to me is stunning in relation to short period of time, middle of a season, to be handing out lessons like that whilst communicating with your fans. I think Amorim's done fantastic. And the annoying thing about that is that he's basically burnt his bridges with Casemiro, Rashford, and a couple of other players. And then in January, Ineos are going, there's no money. And he's probably going to be sat there thinking, I've come in when I didn't want to come in. I wanted to do this in the summer. I've come in. I've hit the ground running. I've burnt bridges with players that needed it. They're all off in January, and I'm not getting any players. And he might be sat there thinking, look, I'd have been better off just biting my lip, smiling, picking Rashford and Casemiro now and again, and been the smiling assassin and got rid of them in the summer, but used them between now and the end of May. And that annoys me as well, because he's not been a hypocrite. He's come in, he's looked at them and gone, you're not good enough, get out. And then Ineos are going, there's no money. It's hard to see what Ineos' plan is with Amorim at the moment, because he is doing exactly what they wanted. We were told that Sir Jim Radcliffe's in a rush for success. Well, Amorim's in a rush. Some of the things he's done in the first few weeks, as I say, is spectacular. Easily could have given Rashford the rest of the season. No, I'll give you 3 or 4 weeks and you're gone. But that's not being matched by the management at the moment, because they're going, there's no money till the summer. Anyway, answering that question, what would a realistic window be against your preferred one? My preferred one would be Mendes, Luis, Moani in, Rashford, Casemiro, Anthony, maybe Zirkzee out. I'll talk to you about Zirkzee in a minute. What I think will happen is Rashford loan, Anthony loan, Casemiro permanent, maybe Moani. That's how I can't see anything at the moment beyond that, because I have been watching Man United under the Glazers for many years now. There is only 3 weeks left of this window. It's really, really unusual for Man United to pluck somebody out the air that we're not even talking about and have them signed in 3 weeks. Even Ineos that were meant to be quick. We weren't quick on Agate. We weren't quick on De Ligt. We weren't quick on Mazraoui. They were surprising when the names came out. I'll admit they came out of nowhere. But we didn't do the deals quick. Agate came out of nowhere in late June, but we didn't sign him till in the end of August. So they're not quick at doing deals. Granted, at the start of January, we might have heard Mendes, and we might have had him signed by the end of the month, but I don't know who it's going to be. First time tuning in for a while, Mark. Good to be back. Any word on a live show in Dublin? Keep up the good work. Luna, we are very close to sorting out a couple of live shows because it's our 10th year of the United Stand, and obviously we hit 2 million subscribers not that long ago. So we've just been a bit unlucky, actually. There's a couple of specific places I want to do the shows at, and every time we bloody ask for it, there's some other prat there. I thought I'd had some transfer news then. I haven't. Okay, let me just catch up on these. Plain Binder is fair given on Anana's shaky form, says Rohan. Mojo's gifted 5 memberships. You're a legend, Mojo. No one is a safe. Anana should be dropped. Do you think Anana's been dropped? I want to talk about that, actually. I'll do that next. Turkey. Mojo's gifted another membership. He's a legend. Appreciate that. I think Mojo's given us a super chat I need to just catch up on as well. There's a few things I want to talk about, actually, which is great for a Friday night. Loads to get into. Not selling Mainu will be the only buy, says Shabazz. I hope... well, what did I say to you about that Mainu story? What did I say to you about that Mainu story? Well, I won't wait. I said, Ahmad's new deal in the January transfer window, when it could have been 2 weeks ago, stinks of Glazonomics. It's like a new signing. And what did we say about Mainu? Why would you put a story out like that? Maybe it's a distraction tactic. You talk about needing to sell Mainu, and then a couple of weeks later, we're not selling him. He's going to sign a new contract. It's like another new signing. Don't ever think they don't think you're a mug at Man United, especially the Glazers. There'll be some genius out there that's gone, put a story out there that we're going to sell Mainu. Then, a couple of weeks later, sign him on a new deal, and it'll feel like a new signing. Anana's not in bad form. This is his normal form, says Shahin. Mike, JBA's gifted a membership. Mike, hope you're doing well. I hope this doesn't happen, but there is a world where this form continues and Amorim doesn't see the summer. Love United Stand. All the best for 2025, says Stefanio. Thank you very much for your super chat, mate. Off to the game undercover at the weekend, Mark. Sat in home end with my mate who supports Arsenal. Hope you're having a good night, says Josh. Mate, the trouble with that is, it's fine, but if United are winning a game like that, you know what? They should be signing you up for EastEnders if you can act that out without letting out that you're a Man United fan. What year Man United kiss is the nicest, most fire, says Ranier. It depends on... everyone's going to have a different one. As I say, mine's... I just love my away kits from the early 90s. Last time I checked, we are like Real Madrid of England, but I don't see any superstars like Real Madrid in our club or do any transfer windows like them either, says Siv. I give $1,000. Sorry, Desire says I'll give £1,000 to all United Stand members if United buy only players, only one player. No way Ineos and the Glazers doing business this month. So sad for Amorim. I'm going to predict it now. Amorim will walk before he gets sacked. The guy has to be unbelievably stressed. Ineos and Glazers are problematic, says Jace. Richard Rios would have been great in the midfield, says the Duke. We need a superstar in this team. Kvaratskhelia will be our superstar. He will make others better. I'm sure about that. He's not going to sign for us. Audi R3. Hello, Mark. Happy New Year. Love your content, says Alex. Happy New Year, Alex. Inacio is really good for 35 million. The only reason he's available is that the new sporting coach went to a back four, and Inacio is not good in a back four, says Antonio. Mojo says, the Glazers are pathetic businessmen, but Ineos should know that you have to invest to improve your assets, to improve your output, and thus your profits. Cutting cost on a rotting asset will only make matters worse. That's devaluing your value as a business, says Mojo. You know what? Mojo, you are absolutely spot on. And it reminds me of Chelsea. When Todd Boehly bought Chelsea, there was numerous consortiums and people that wanted to buy Chelsea. Remember, this came after the troubles in Russia. Abramovich basically got forced out of Chelsea. The government got involved, and there was an open sort of bidding process for Chelsea, of which Todd Boehly won. And Sir Jim Radcliffe was actually in that process. He wanted to buy Chelsea. Todd Boehly won that, and then went on an absolute madness. I mean, everybody thought it was chaotic. An absolute madness of buying players. Look at where they are now. They were in a title race 3 weeks ago, probably ahead of schedule, but they're certainly firmly in the top four. They bought players, and look at where they are. Look at Manchester United. Granted, first summer under Ten Hag, they went and bought a few players. But January transfer window, first transfer window for your guy, and you're putting out messages that you want to not spend money. I mean, I'm sorry, but, you know, you got Todd Boehly walking into a club, buying everybody drinks, trying to find, you know, the dream partner. And you got Sir Jim Radcliffe walking in, trying to revive a pork chop. It ain't ever gonna, it's a pork chop. It's dead. And that's how I feel about Man United. It's like Amorim wants to buy players, and they're saying can't buy your players, so you've got to revive this shit. And that's basically the truth, isn't it? Like, if he's not buying players, you're asking him to work with players that sacked Ten Hag that aren't good enough. That's the message, isn't it? And as I said, I find that baffling that they demanded Amorim come now and not the summer. Because if he can't buy players in January, what was the bloody point? Some will say, well, it helps him to find out who he wants to stay and who he wants to go. I think he figured that one out within about a fortnight. I think he could have figured that one out in June. So I don't get what Ineos thought was the idea in getting him in November. I really don't understand it at the moment, if I'm being completely honest. Anyway, let's move it on. Who was the last big January signing? Sanchez, says Shahin. Must have been, because a lot of people were saying it was Bruno the other night. Red Army says the media are trying to blame Ineos for the Glazers nearly bankrupting the club. Ineos invested the maximum legally allowed until United revenue increases, says Red Army. The media are not trying to blame Ineos, mate. The media are right up Ineos's arse, I think, if we're being honest. So I'd pull you up on that one. And what you're talking about doesn't make any sense. You know, so Ineos invested the maximum they can legally allowed into the Man United. Did they? Did they? And is that the only way? Can that money be used for transfers? No, it can't. It doesn't matter if they put 5 billion into the club or 5 pence into the club. You can't impact a transfer fund with money into the club, as Newcastle will tell you. So I think you need to read up on how these things work, because that's it. You're factually incorrect. Ineos bought this football club and kept the Glazers in power. End of story. You're trying to twist the story here. Like, unfortunately, watch the show last night. Ineos kept the Glazers in power, which kept the debts and kept the club in trouble. And yes, they've put money in, but that money that money can't go towards transfers. I even read a story the other day that Sir Jim Radcliffe had put another 50 million into the club, but it can't be used on transfers. And I thought, who's the prat writing this article? Have you ever actually studied the Premier League? No owner can input money into the club that gets used for transfers, because that's not how the transfer works. Money for transfers comes from your revenue. And it always has. You can't inject money into the club from a private owner. You just can't do it. Hi, Mark. If United win the Europa League and get Champions League football, do you think we could get a player like Zirkzee? No, I think you're absolutely miles off, Dreco. I don't think, no. Not from the news that Man United are putting out. And we won't be in the Champions League the way things are going, are we? Anyway, look, let's talk about Amorim. He has said today that, well, there's two things actually. He said today that Binder will play in goal on Sunday. Some people think he might pick Rashford because there was a question asked about Rashford and he said, we'll see, everybody's training at the moment. Now, if he picks Rashford on Sunday, that's incredible. You've got all these clubs lining up to take him. You've clearly got an issue with him. And then you're going to put him in the team and risk injury and hypocrisy. So I'd be stunned if that happens. But Binder is going to start. It's not a rumour. This is what Amorim said. Now, I don't know really what to say here because the last time I checked, we were the FA Cup holders. The last time I checked, the FA Cup gets you into Europe. And the last time I checked, we were playing Arsenal away and they're going to try and beat us. So I don't understand. I mean, I don't agree with this Thuto. He's the cup goalkeeper. We're not Man City. We're not top of the league giving Edison a rest so Ortega can play. We're shit. We're really shit. And Binder wasn't great against Spurs and we got knocked out because of that. So are we risking the FA Cup on a goalkeeper again? Or is he dropping Onana for Binder? Look, if it's our strongest team with Binder in goal, maybe he's dropping Onana. If it's not our strongest team and we're rotating, I'm confused. I'm really confused. If it's not just Binder starting, but, you know, Johnny Evans starts, Eriksen starts, Garnacho starts, so we're starting bench players, I'm massively confused. I'm massively confused because we're done in the Premier League. It's done. We're not doing anything in the Premier League. But the FA Cup is our trophy and we should be going as strong as we bloody well can. If you want to play Binder, play him at home to Southampton on Thursday. They're shit. But Arsenal at the Emirates, when they're going to put crosses in, Spurs scored directly from a corner. I'm just a little bit worried about it. I know I'm in the mono. Look, I love Amorim. No one's going to back Amorim like me. Well, you lot will, because you do. But what I'm saying is, just because I back somebody, I'm not a bloody lemming. No, that's not the one. He's not the Pied Piper. He doesn't say everything and I follow him. You know, respect is earned. He will make mistakes. I'm not convinced that this is a good idea if it's rotation. We shouldn't be what I'm saying is we shouldn't be rotating in the FA Cup when the league's done and we're the holders and we're playing Arsenal. I think we should be going as strong as we can. And I don't think Onana's been dropped. I think this is because Binder's the cup goalkeeper. And I don't agree with that. We used to do this with De Gea. And I'd say the same thing. Whether it's Romero, don't want Romano in goal. Whether it's Romero, Dean Henderson, whatever, I would always want De Gea in goal in a game like this. So look, if it's just Binder, maybe Onana's been dropped. My concern is it's going to be 3 or 4 players rotated in. Why? We've had a fucking week off. We've had a week off and we're playing Southampton on Thursday. Arsenal played on Tuesday and they're playing Spurs on the Wednesday. So we've got an extra day off and we have had a couple of extra days off. Like, we should be going as strong as we can in a game like this. And I just worry about these sort of changes. I hope I'm wrong. And as I said, I back the manager 100%, but it doesn't mean I have to back every decision and say I'm fully behind it. I'm a bit worried about this because loads of teams this weekend are going to disrespect the FA Cup and rest players. we shouldn't be disrespecting the cup. We're the holders. Our league is gone. We're not in the Carabao Cup, and this is a very important trophy to us. So we should be going all out to win it. Vaguely recalls Sir Jim Radcliffe mentioning that it will take up to 3 transfer windows to compile a world-class squad, but then given the contract they have given to Amorim, he only has 4 windows left, says Mojo. A win tomorrow can create some crazy momentum, says Shabas. I think you mean on Sunday, but I know what you mean. I still think a striker is not our most important position needed. Central midfield, defence and left are more vulnerable to breakdown of offence and defence, says the Duke. What is written on the whiteboard at the background? Definitely maybe it's an album cover from Oasis. Let's A to Z, you blocked. That's not even funny. It's just stupid and kills the momentum. Sean from Ireland. Mark, when Jim said it would take 5 transfer windows to fix the squad, did he mean 5 summer windows? Yes. Until they prove otherwise, it feels like Manchester United are ignoring the January transfer window. Is he rotating because he doesn't know his best 11, says Rohan? Oh, no, I think our best 11 was last week. And I can't see what... And look, I don't think Onana's been dropped. What did Onana do badly against Liverpool? So for me, this is rotation, and I don't really get it. I don't get... Imagine, right? We start the same team as we started against Liverpool, and we do really well, and it's 1-1, and in the last minute, a corner comes in, and Binder completely and utterly fucks it up, and we go out. That's what I'm saying. Now, some might say, well, Onana might do it, but I'd be saying Binder did it, and he's not the first choice goalkeeper. I don't understand rotation or cup goalkeepers when it's a massively important game. I've just bit my fucking mouth. I hate doing that. If it was a little bit more flustered, I'd be going mad. I've just literally bit the side of my mouth, and it really, really hurts. I'm getting calmer in my older age. Our praise gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much. Amorim won't write league off, whatever fans think, says Robert McCormack. Well, he should do. He's a fucking idiot then, isn't he? I mean, we are 13th with 23 points. And we are... I mean, Robert, have you had a look at the league table? What do you mean he won't write the league table off? We're 13th with 23 points, and we're 12 points off 5th. 12 points off 5th. And he's not writing the league off. Have a fucking day off. You're absolute moron if you think you're clawing that back. You're not clawing a 12-point gap back in this season. The league's over, mate. It's gone. It's absolutely gone. There's no point. No point. FA Cup, Europa League, that's all it's about. The Duke says, it's ridiculous how fans think we can just buy players randomly because all United is rich. But 10 years we won soft trophies and have not sold anyone worth talking about. So manager or owners can't do shit without shit. That guy Beto says, hello from LA. Mark, will Casemiro leave in January? I'm absolutely convinced he will. And Robert McCormack says, in terms of he will feel he needs to win games. Yes. You know how I look at the league, Robert? I look at it as pre-season. Competitive games to get your system and everything working. But I guarantee you, when we hit March and April, and hopefully we're in the latter stages of the Europa League, and we're playing Thursday, Sunday, look at what he does in the league on the Sunday. I guarantee you, he'll start rotating, and he'll start keeping his best players back for that. The league is dead. It's gone. I think he will try and get as high as the league he can, because if you finish 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, you're never going to live that down. But it's over. We could go on a 6-game winning run. We're not getting top 5. That's not going to happen. So all it is about how high we can get up. But I've got to say, and I'll always be honest, I'm very concerned about Binder playing on Sunday, because unless Onana's been dropped, and I can't see why would you weaken your team in a game that's one of the big games you've got left in the league, in the season? Because the league is nothing now. What is the league now? Nothing. It's the FA Cup and the Europa League, and I would be prioritising them. I mean, look at last season. It was absolutely dreadful. If we hadn't won the FA Cup, we wouldn't even be in the Europa League. So we shouldn't be disrespecting it. Mojo's gifted 10 memberships. Thank you very much. And I tell you what, do you think Arteta's going to rotate Raya out? Maybe. If he does, fine. But I don't think he will. I really don't. I'd go strong Sunday. A definite, Onana defo not drop, says Robert. No, I can't see what Onana did against Liverpool to be dropped. I can see why some people would sell Onana in the longer term, but I can't see why he would have been dropped, really. But look, some people are saying focus on the Europa. I've been saying this for a while. I think the Europa League is our focus, and it has to be. Have we forgot that all the funds we earned in the last 10 years only gone into overly paid players, says the Duke. I don't think we have. No, thank you very much for your super chat. Just a couple of other things. Monaco, notice how I've left this right towards the end of the show. Monaco are now in for Rashford. I mean, if Monaco were the only club in for Rashford, yabba dabba do. But there are so many clubs in for Rashford now. It's. I don't know. Is it now getting to a point where we know that it can be about PR when it comes to Rashford? We saw that interview on the Tuesday with Henry Winter that he shouldn't have done, and that was about PR. Is it now? Are these clubs actually in for him, or are we just getting loads and loads of clubs being in for him now? Because we've had some ridiculous ones this week: Como, Monaco, Galatasaray, West Ham, Arsenal. I'm at the point now where surely Rashford's team have got a fucking idea of where they want him to go. Just go, get on with it. The quicker you get there, the quicker you're playing games, and the quicker you're playing games, the quicker you're back. So I think, how many more clubs do you want to get linked to? Just crack on with it. I mean, you're not going to go to bloody Monaco anyway, are you? You're not retiring in a tax haven. Milan, Barcelona, I get it. But come on, let's just get moving with that. Mark, we can't write off the league. Now is the time to build chemistry and have players in Amorim's plans understand the system. We need to push on. Again, you're putting words into my mouth, Alex. I didn't say we're writing off the league. What I said is we're not going to do anything in the league. We have to use the league, as we were talking about with Robert, about developing the style of play, building confidence. What I said was, we're not going to finish anywhere relevant in the league. We have to treat it and respect it and learn and earn and win and develop, but we're not going to get top 5, which is the minimum you would want from the league. So, but winning the FA Cup or winning the Europa League, one of them gets you in the Europa League again, and his silverware. The other one gets you in the Champions League and his silverware. So what I'm saying is, if you want to play Biinda, play him against fucking Southampton in the league, because we're not going to be able to do anything in the league. Pick your strongest teams in the cup, because they're more of a priority. Sorry to derail the conversation, says Jason. In Southampton right now, anyone know if there is a pub where I can get food and sit at the bar? Jason. Anyone in Southampton know of any bars where Jason can sit at the bar and have some food? MT90 says, is it because we won't buy a good second keeper, so he's trying to keep Biinda happy till the end of the season, says MT90. I would hope we're not picking players to keep them happy. I would hope we're picking players because they're good. Yeah. Onana might be ill, says Aman. Yes, there's always there. Has the Boohoo Man question ever actually been nanny, says Shotgun Justice. I believe it has. I believe it must have done, yeah. Also, just to wrap up on, because there was a lot, for a Friday night, we've had a lot of news stories tonight to react to. I'm going to have to keep one of them back for tomorrow morning's show as well, because I wanted to talk about this particular topic for 10 minutes. But it'll keep. It's a good topic, and it's not actually transfer related, really. So I want it to have its own moment in the sun. Pletty goal. Updates. Zirkzee. Zirkzee wants to stay and believes he can prove himself at Manchester United. Well, I'll tell you what, good, but why the fuck have we had stories for 6 months then? How's about that should have been your statement when you first came to the club, and then you should have told your agent to not get involved in talking to Italian clubs and shut down every fucking link that ever happened over the last 6 months. I mean, I just despair. I despair. So Zirkzee wants to stay and is committing his future to Man United. Why the fuck have we had 6 months of stories about you going to Italy then? Because somebody's been doing that and it ain't Man United. So who has been doing that story? Because, mate, you signed for us in the summer. It doesn't work like that. You don't get linked to clubs in your first 6 months and then pledge your future. That was what you did in the summer. These Italian stories need to stop. And where did they come from in the first place? Romano said your agent has been speaking to Juventus for weeks. Why? So sometimes we need to just cut through the shit and say credible people have said that your people have been talking to Italian clubs. You signed for us in the summer, putting a story out now that you're committing your future to Man United. Good. But stop getting your people or allowing your people to talk to other fucking clubs. You've only been here 6 months. You should be focused on Manchester United and being a Manchester United player. And if those people are talking without your permission, you should be replacing your agent. Because we've had 6 months, every 2 weeks, of you being linked to a move to Italy. And Romano said this week, that's because your people have been talking to those clubs. Why? You've only been here 6 months. You sign for a club like Man United, you get your head down, you focus on Man United, and the only thing you talk about is how much you love Manchester United. So it's good that he's staying. I think there's a talent there. I never liked the fact that some people were writing him off as shit. I think there is a talent there. But maybe, some of the criticism is fair because he's clearly not been settled. So hopefully now it's twigged in his head that he needs to focus on the club that actually bought him in the summer. And we might start to see the real Zirkzee. Because maybe he's not been playing well because there's all this unsettled stuff. So, look, Man United haven't been trying to sell him to Italy. For whatever reason, these stories have been going around and obviously people associated with him have been talking to that. So it just needs to stop. Shut it down. Stop it. And focus on Man United. And we might actually get the player we thought we were buying. The Duke says, at this point, what's Summer's possibility out and unrealistic? I'm not talking about the Summer, the Duke. I'm starting to worry that you are Sir Jim Radcliffe because some of your stuff over the last few minutes. It's hard to get rid of players when you've got no money. What do we want to do in the summer? Last time I checked, it was January the 10th. There's a transfer window open now with players that we could buy. I ain't talking about the summer. Oh, let's talk about the future and they'll forget about the present. No, not talking about the future at the moment. Sir Jim is deluded. He's got a plan for success but isn't backing it up. How does he expect to be successful in 5 years if he ain't ruthless in the market, says Ewan. Look, I took the piss out of Todd Bowley. I think a lot of us did. But look at where they are now. They went and aggressively found a way to get money into that football club and buy players. And they did it. They found a loophole. You know, they put players on massive contracts. Nobody could quite understand how Chelsea were doing it. They seem to be forever under the shadow of a transfer ban, but never get one because they're aggressive, they find loopholes and they go and get players. And look at where Chelsea are now. An amazing squad, a very young squad, and they're set for the next 5 years. Flip that around with what Ineos are trying to do with Amorim, and you just think, well, look, he's inherited a pile of shit. You won't even buy him a shovel to get rid of it, let alone clean it out for him. You've got to do that in football. As Mojo said, every instance of success in the last 30 years in the Premier League is based on money. Manchester United had a great manager, but we spent a lot of money. Blackburn Rovers had a good manager, but they spent a lot of money. Newcastle nearly won the league in '96 because they spent a lot of money. Man United took it off them. Arsenal, under Wenger, spent money on his project. I mean, I would liken what Wenger did at Arsenal to similar to what Amorim did. what Amorim needs. Arsene Wenger came into Arsenal and took a club that was really part the bus and shit and revolutionised the way they played football. But to do that, you know, they tapped into the French young player market. They brought players in. Arsenal competed for the league with us. When Arsenal fell away and we fell away, Chelsea spent money, got a good manager in Mourinho, but they spent money. Man United bounced back by spending money on the likes of Rooney and Ronaldo, etc. Then Man City came along and they spent money. Everybody who's won the Premier League spent money. Even fucking Leicester spent money. You have to... There is no evidence anywhere in Premier League history of a team winning the Premier League without spending money on their chosen manager. So, you might not like it, and there are people out there going, you can't, it's not all about money. Unfortunately, it is. It is. History shows you. It is about money. If you want to be successful in the Premier League, you do have to spend money. So, saying there's no money till the summer, you're just delaying the inevitable. You've got to do it at some point. What about slots? Well, I knew somebody would say slots, but what Liverpool did with slots will go down as breaking the mould. You make a very, very good point. This sounds like that's football now. However, what Liverpool did with slot was very, very unique. They had a team that had been assembled by Klopp through spending money and developing players that was ready to fight for the title this year, and Klopp walked. So Liverpool purposely went out and found a manager that wasn't going to walk in and dismantle that team and would utilise it. And that's why Slot never spent any money, because Liverpool wanted a manager that would pick up the project of Klopp and see it through. So it didn't need money spending on it because the work had already been done. You can't compare Slot and Liverpool to Man United and Amorim, because Amorim is not picking up a team capable of winning the league. Amorim is picking up a pile of steaming shit. So you've got to spend money. Ineos has been shocking. Don't blindly support them, says Rohan. Are there any exciting prospects in our academy, says Alex? There's plenty of them, but they're not and should not be put forward as solutions for this. Anyway, look, great show tonight. Really enjoyed it for a Friday night. Always a special show. Loved that. And thanks, everyone. Very, very busy show, actually. We're back tomorrow at 10 o'clock, of course. And we've got an 8 o'clock show tomorrow night. Saturday night 8 o'clock show is a cracker. I'm glad that we've got that back. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe as usual. And take care. Don't forget Boohoo Man, 10% off with the code Goldbridge. Enjoy your day, evening, whatever you are doing, and love the Friday night shows. So Susan, Gavin and Linda and Gabrielle, our mods, are in there. Thank you very much to them. They do a great job. Moyes is going back to Everton. I tell you what, I will. If you want a positive, we should always try and end on a positive. Man United's situation is frustrating. Imagine being Everton, right? Everton are basically this in an analogy, right? You're in an unhappy marriage. You go to bed at night, and the only action you get is your missus turning the light off, right? No action at all. Boring. You get up in the morning, you know, some people are getting salmon and scrambled eggs. You're getting a slice of toast. For tea, some people are getting steak and chips. You're getting another slice of toast. It's boring. It's 2025. You're getting no action. Finally, you get a divorce. You get a divorce, and you're looking around on the market. You're swiping left and right. She's good. Yeah. What do? You go and get married again to somebody who's worse than the partner that you just had. I mean, it's 2025, and Everton have got a manager that would have been decent in the Pulis era. Dyche Ball, yeah? You sack him. You look around you, even the teams that are going to get relegated, like Southampton, Kieran Maguire's Ipswich, play good football. And then you got the likes of Bournemouth with 11,000 capacity playing good football. Everton are about to build a new stadium. Everton won the fucking league in the 80s. Everton are a historical big football club. And all these little clubs are playing good football because they've got it. They're in 2025. Look at Brighton. Everton appoint Dyche and go Jurassic Park. They sack Dyche and you think, hold on a minute. They're going to go and get a hipster manager. They're actually going to go and try and play football like everyone else. What do? They go and get a guy that was relevant, was their manager in 2010. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, look, it's not the Everton stand, but you know what? They deserve to get relegated with appointments like that. David fucking Moyes in 2025. And you know what the justification will be? It's just to help us stay up. The modern football fan doesn't want to just stay up. They want to be entertained. Poor. Anyway, that's just a little bit at the end. And whilst they're making appointments like that, we're never getting relegated. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Smash a like. I'll speak to you all in a bit.